There are moments in life when everything seems still, when the sky appears silent, and when the road ahead looks unchanged. But hear this with the deepest urgency of your spirit: when life feels the quietest, when the path looks the most ordinary, that is often the very moment when God is preparing His greatest surprise. My friend, you may think nothing is shifting, nothing is moving, nothing is opening, but God specializes in silent transformations. He works in ways you cannot measure, behind doors you cannot see, and within circumstances you barely notice. God is about to surprise you, and the very thing you think is delaying you is the same thing God is using to position you. God does not need noise to make a miracle. God does not need a sign to begin a shift. God does not need the permission of people to elevate you. All God needs is the right moment, and that moment is drawing near. You have prayed prayers that felt unanswered. You have cried tears no one understood, and you have walked through storms that looked like they would swallow you whole. You wondered if God forgot, if God stepped back, if God delayed His response. But the truth is this: God was not ignoring you, God was preparing you. God was not withholding from you, God was building something within you. God was not abandoning you, God was aligning you. And now, as you stand in the doorway of a new chapter, God is whispering something into the depth of your soul. Get ready. I am about to surprise you. Some of the greatest moves of God happen when your expectations are at their lowest. Some of God's biggest blessings appear when you feel the most tired. God loves to show His power at the moment you think everything is slipping through your fingers. When the night is darkest, dawn is closer than ever. When the burden feels heaviest, breakthrough is already forming. When the path looks blocked, God is already clearing a way. God has always been a master of sudden shifts, unexpected answers, and divine turnarounds. And when God moves suddenly, no force in the world can stop Him. There is a reason your life has been uncomfortable. There is a reason people walked away. There is a reason things were delayed. There is a reason doors shut. God was not punishing you. God was protecting you. God saw what you didn't see. God heard conversations behind your back. God knew the traps set in front of you. God understood the weight your heart was not ready to carry. The surprise God is preparing for you required separation. It required elevation. It required purification. It required growth. You cannot receive a big blessing with small faith. You cannot walk into a new season holding on to old battles. God is about to surprise you, but before God surprises you outwardly, God strengthens you inwardly. Some of you have prayed for strength, but God allowed struggle because strength grows in storms. Some of you prayed for wisdom, but God allowed loss because wisdom grows in pain. Some of you prayed for a new chapter, but God forced an ending because new chapters cannot begin in old environments. You may have interpreted your waiting as punishment, but God was preparing a dramatic reveal. God has a timing that does not bend to human pressure. God has a schedule that does not move by human impatience. God is never early, never late, always precise, always intentional, always strategic. You may not realize it, but everything around you is shifting. God is moving pieces you don't even know exist. God is touching hearts you've never met. God is opening doors that were locked for generations. God is aligning opportunities that were never supposed to be yours, according to human opinion. But heaven does not ask for human approval. Heaven does not need earthly validation. Heaven does not negotiate with doubt. When God decides to lift you, no one can lower you. When God decides to honor you, no one can humiliate you. When God decides to bless you, no one can block you. I want you to feel this deeply. The battle you're facing is not a sign of defeat, it is a sign of preparation. The pressure you feel is not a sign of failure, it is a sign of promotion. The silence you're experiencing is not a sign that God is distant, it is a sign that God is working. The reason the enemy fought you so hard is because the enemy knew what you didn't know. God is about to surprise you with something bigger than anything you've prayed for. You have been asking for small blessings, but God is preparing something far greater. You have been praying for relief, but God is preparing release. You have been praying for strength, but God is preparing elevation. You have been praying for a door, but God is preparing a destiny. There are seasons when you feel like you are walking through fire, and you wonder why God didn't remove the flames. But what if God allowed the fire because the fire purified what needed to be burned away? What if God allowed the fire because the fire prepared you for the blessing? You see, blessings require capacity. Blessings require maturity. Blessings require spiritual stability. Some people want the blessing but aren't ready for its weight. Some people want the miracle but aren't ready for its responsibility. But you, after everything you've endured, after everything you've survived, after every test, every night of prayer, every battle fought silently in your room, you are ready. God is about to surprise you because the version of you standing right now is not the version that started this journey. You have grown, you have matured, you have surrendered, you have endured, and God honors endurance. Let this truth settle into your spirit. God does His best work in unexpected moments. Think of every major shift in your life, every breakthrough, every open door, every answered prayer. Did it come when you expected it? Or did it come when you were tired, when you had given up, when you felt disconnected? God moves suddenly. God moves unexpectedly. God moves at the edge of your endurance. God moves after you've tried everything and realized only God can change the situation. God is about to do something for you that will silence doubt, silence fear, silence anxiety, and silence every voice that said you wouldn't make it. God is about to surprise you with something so powerful that you will look back and say, if I hadn't gone through that pain, I would have missed this blessing. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not abandoned. You are not invisible. God has seen every tear that others ignored. God has heard every prayer spoken in exhaustion. God has watched you hold on to faith even when your heart was shaking. And God is now preparing a divine response, not a small response, not an ordinary response, but a life-changing, destiny-shifting, heart-lifting response. God is about to surprise you in a way that makes you realize every delay was divine, every setback was strategic, every disappointment was protection. Some of you are standing in a season where everything feels unfamiliar. You feel like something is changing, but you can't explain what it is. You feel like something is coming, but you can't describe it. You feel like God is stirring something, but you can't articulate the details. That feeling is spiritual anticipation. Your spirit always senses what your eyes cannot see, and your spirit knows God is about to surprise you. God is about to turn a closed door into a testimony. God is about to transform your drought into abundance. God is about to convert your weeping into joy. God is about to shift your story so dramatically that the people who doubted you will not be able to deny the hand of God on your life. Do not misinterpret your current struggle. The pressure you feel is a sign that something is about to break open. The spiritual tension around you is a sign that heaven is moving. The discomfort in your soul is a sign that God is preparing a transition. When a blessing is close, life becomes uncomfortable. When a breakthrough is near, distractions increase. When elevation is imminent, opposition rises. Not because you're failing, but because something powerful is about to manifest. The storm you're facing is not the enemy ending you, it is God clearing the atmosphere around you. And let me tell you something deeply important. God is not just going to give you what you asked for, God is going to exceed what you asked for. Your prayers were seeds, your tears were water, your faith was the sunlight. And now God is about to give the harvest. The things you thought you lost, God is about to replace with something better. The people who walked away, God is about to replace with people who value your purpose. The opportunities that fell apart, God is about to replace with opportunities far beyond what you imagine. God is not limited by what you lost. God is not restricted by who left. God is not threatened by closed doors. God creates what does not exist, and God opens what was never meant to stay shut. There is a blessing coming that will humble you. There is a breakthrough coming that will restore you. There is a victory coming that will redefine you. There is a moment approaching when you will realize that all those nights you thought were breaking, you were actually building you. God was shaping your character, strengthening your faith, sharpening your vision, and deepening your dependence on Him. You wouldn't be ready for the blessing if you hadn't faced the battle. You wouldn't be ready for the miracle if you hadn't endured the wilderness. But now you are ready. You are prepared. You are strengthened. You are positioned. God is not a God of halfway blessings. God is not a God of partial breakthroughs. God is not a God of incomplete victories. When God moves fully. When God blesses abundantly. When God elevates beyond expectation. And when God surprises you, the surprise is not just for you, it becomes a testimony for everyone connected to your life. People will look at your story and see the undeniable fingerprints of God. You have been through seasons where you had to encourage yourself, seasons where no one understood your pain, seasons where you felt isolated, misunderstood, rejected, or underestimated. But you kept going, you kept believing, you kept showing up, you kept trusting. And now, God is about to reward what no one else saw. God saw your integrity when others took shortcuts. God saw your generosity when others took advantage of you. God saw your honesty when others lied. God saw your heart even when people judged your actions. And because God saw the unseen, God will reward openly. There is a divine shift coming. When God surprises you, it will not be subtle. It will not be small. It will not be quiet. It will be so clear, so undeniable, so powerful that even your enemies will have to admit that only God could have done it. God is preparing something that will make you stand in awe. God is preparing something that will make you fall to your knees in gratitude. God is preparing something that will lift a burden off your shoulders that you've carried for years. God is preparing something that will heal wounds you stopped talking about. God is preparing something that will restore joy you thought you had lost permanently. You have survived too much to remain where you are. You have endured too much to end in defeat. You have grown too much to stay in the same chapter. God is about to surprise you with the very thing that seemed impossible. The world may have told you that you're too late, too old, too broken, too flawed, too inexperienced, but God calls you chosen. God calls you capable. God calls you destined. God calls you prepared. And when God speaks destiny over your life, human opinion becomes irrelevant. Begin to open your heart now for the unexpected. God is not limited by the natural. God is not limited by statistics. God is not limited by economics. God is not limited by circumstances. God operates in the realm of the impossible. And your life is about to become the evidence of that. You are not about to receive an ordinary blessing. You are about to receive a divine intervention. A shift so powerful, a blessing so profound that you will understand why the waiting had to be long. God is going to surprise you in a way that makes every hardship worth it. And when it happens, your soul will whisper the truth it always knew: God never forgot you. God was preparing you all along. And as you continue on this journey, you must understand that the way God works often challenges human logic. God does not always move according to patterns you recognize. God does not always send signs that your mind can interpret. Sometimes God blinds you to the details so He can strengthen your trust. Sometimes God hides the past so He can reveal your faith. Sometimes God allows you to feel uncertainty so He can build unshakable confidence in your spirit. God is not trying to confuse you. God is cultivating you. God is not trying to test you to break you. God is testing you to reveal you. You were never meant to remain dependent on human validation. You were meant to rise on the foundation of spiritual certainty. And that certainty is anchored in this truth. When God is preparing to surprise you, the process may feel unfamiliar, but the promise is unstoppable. There are blessings that require stillness, blessings that require silence, and blessings that require discomfort. God often prepares the greatest breakthroughs in seasons where you cannot see progress with your eyes, but your spirit senses it. Your inner being feels a stirring. Something deep inside whispers, "Do not give up now." That whisper is not your imagination. That whisper is divine encouragement. God is aligning outcomes that your prayers set into motion long ago. And while it may seem like nothing is changing, everything is changing. The ground beneath your feet is shifting. The spiritual winds around you are picking up. The atmosphere of your life is being rearranged for an unexpected manifestation of God's power. You think you have seen God work before, but what is coming will redefine how you perceive God's mercy, God's timing, and God's greatness. There are seasons when God delays not to deny, but to develop. If the blessing arrived too early, you might mishandle it. If the door opened too soon, you might walk through unprepared. God's delay is often God's protection in disguise. You may feel as though God is stretching your patience, but God is stretching your capacity. You are being prepared for a blessing that requires spiritual strength, emotional discipline, and unwavering conviction. The very pressure you feel is forming the structure within you that will be able to sustain what God is about to give. When God blesses, He blesses with intention. When God elevates, He elevates with precision. Nothing God does is accidental. Nothing God aligns is random. Everything you have walked through, every storm, every heartbreak, every dry season has been part of a divine strategy. Some people misunderstand the silence of God. They assume the silence means distance. But the silence of God often means preparation. When a teacher is silent during a test, it is not because the teacher stepped away, it is because the student already has everything they need to pass. God's silence is not absence, it is confidence. God trusts what He placed inside you. God trusts the strength He molded in you. God trusts the wisdom He cultivated within your spirit. And now, in this season of transition, you are moments away from stepping into a blessing that will confirm what God saw in you all along. There are things God is about to release into your life that you did not even pray for, but God knew you needed them. There are opportunities coming that you thought you were unqualified for, but God prepared them anyway. There are people entering your life who will unlock gifts within you that you did not know existed, but God arranged it quietly. God is always ahead of you, orchestrating. God is always above you, protecting. God is always beside you, guiding. Even when you felt alone, God was surrounding you. Even when you felt broken, God was rebuilding you. Even when you felt confused, God was teaching you. You are not stepping into a blessing by luck, you are stepping into a blessing by divine order. And hear this with conviction. God is not only about to surprise you with blessings, you are about to surprise yourself with who you become. You are rising into a version of yourself that pain helped shape, that faith helped mature, and that perseverance helped refine. God knew that certain pressures were necessary. God allowed certain people to leave so your spirit could breathe again. God removed certain supports so you could learn to stand independently. God placed you in situations that forced you to discover strength that had been hidden beneath years of self-doubt. And now, that strength will be the foundation of the next chapter God is opening. There are moments when God elevates you in ways others cannot understand. They may look at your past and wonder how you reached this level. They may recall your mistakes and question how God chose you. They may highlight your flaws and criticize your growth. But God does not choose people based on human opinion. God chooses based on potential, purpose, and purity of heart. And when God chooses to elevate, no voice of doubt, jealousy, or opposition can overturn His decree. What God releases, no one can restrain. What God declares, no one can discredit. What God blesses, no one can block. There is a destiny inside you that refuses to be silenced. There is a calling on your life that refuses to be delayed. There is a purpose you carry that refuses to be buried. And God is about to surprise you with the moment where everything aligns, where the waiting makes sense, where the pain has purpose, where the tears have value, where the battles reveal their meaning. You are not standing on random ground. You are standing on the edge of divine fulfillment. You may not understand why certain doors close so forcefully, but God closed them because the blessing behind them was too small for you. You may not understand why certain people walked away so abruptly, but God removed them because their presence would have limited your future. You may not understand why certain opportunities slipped through your fingers, but God withheld them because they would have distracted you from something greater. God's rejection is protection. God's delay is preparation. God's silence is reassurance. And God's surprise is on its way. Some seasons require isolation, and you may have walked through a period where you felt separated from everything and everyone familiar. But isolation is the environment where God downloads direction. Isolation is where God sharpens your discernment. Isolation is where God clarifies your vision. And now everything within you is aligned with what God is releasing around you. You are spiritually ready to receive what your heart once feared. You are emotionally ready to handle what your hands once trembled to hold. You are mentally ready to step into a life that once felt impossible. God has brought you through the valley so He can reveal the mountain. God took you through the night so that the sunrise would be undeniable. And when the surprise arrives, it will not be quiet. It will not be subtle. It will not be something you can easily hide. It will be the type of blessing that sparks awe in the hearts of everyone who sees it. You will walk into rooms that once rejected you. You will receive opportunities that once seemed blocked. You will meet people who will suddenly value what you carry. You will find yourself standing in places that once felt unreachable. This is not because of your ability alone. It is because God placed His hand on your destiny. God placed His strength in your spirit. God placed His favor on your life. And when God marks you with favor, elevation becomes inevitable. You are approaching a moment where the weight of your past will no longer hold authority over your future. God is about to surprise you with a breakthrough so deep, so immediate, so undeniable that you will feel chains you carried for years fall off in an instant. You will feel burdens you normalized lift without warning. You will feel clarity in areas that used to confuse you. God is bringing order to places where chaos tried to rule. God is bringing healing to places where pain tried to settle. God is bringing abundance to places where lack tried to take root. The surprise that God is preparing for you will not simply change your circumstances, it will change your identity. You will wake up with renewed purpose. You will walk with new confidence. You will speak with new authority. You will think with new clarity. You will dream with new boldness. The blessing will not only transform your environment, it will transform your inner world. Because when God surprises you, He doesn't just upgrade your life, He upgrades your spirit. You are entering a chapter where you will no longer beg for what you deserve. You will no longer chase what God has already ordained. You will no longer diminish yourself to make others comfortable. You will no longer shrink in fear of judgment. You will no longer apologize for your growth. God is positioning you to stand in the fullness of your calling, the strength of your character, and the depth of your faith. And when you stand there, everything that once intimidated you will lose its power. There is a breakthrough designed specifically for you, crafted by God, timed by God, delivered by God. No one else can take it. No one else can claim it. No one else can interfere with it. What God has prepared for you carries your name, your purpose, your destiny, and you are closer to that moment than you realize. God is about to surprise you in a way that will restore your hope, deepen your gratitude, and strengthen your faith like never before. There will come a moment in your life when the weight you've been carrying suddenly begins to feel lighter, not because the struggle has ended, but because God has stepped into the situation with a force greater than anything you have faced. That moment is closer than you think. God is preparing a shift so powerful that the very atmosphere around you will testify that change has arrived. You may have endured years of waiting, months of uncertainty, or days where your strength barely held together, but God never counts your tears as weakness. God counts them as seeds. And every seed you've planted in faith is about to rise in a harvest that will astonish even you. God has a way of multiplying what was meant to diminish you, a way of turning what was meant to harm you into what will heal you. That is why your breakthrough will not simply be an event. It will be a revelation of the power, precision, and perfection of God's timing. Some of you have been praying from a place of exhaustion, asking God why life has felt so heavy, why your spirit has felt so stretched, why doors seem to resist you at every turn. But what you didn't know was that God was stretching your capacity to receive something bigger than you asked for. God was enlarging the walls of your heart. God was strengthening the pillars of your character. God was refining the fire within you so that when your blessing comes, you won't crumble under the weight of it, you'll rise with it. God is about to surprise you not only with what He gives, but with who you become in the process of receiving it. You are about to meet a stronger version of yourself, a wiser version of yourself, a more disciplined, more courageous, more spiritually alert version of yourself. And this new version of you will not step into the blessing timidly. This version will walk with authority, confidence, and clarity that comes from knowing God has prepared this moment. There are blessings that God hides in the dark until the exact season they are meant to shine. Just as a seed germinates beneath the soil, away from sight, away from applause, away from noise, God has been forming something in your life beneath the surface, and now the roots are deep. The foundation is steady. The preparation is complete. God is about to bring forth what has been maturing in secret and introduce it to the light in a way that no one, even you, expected. You are standing on the edge of a divine unveiling. God is peeling back the curtain on a new chapter that will reveal why the last one was filled with so much pressure. God is about to surprise you with clarity where confusion once lived, with progress where stagnation tried to trap you, with doors where walls once stood. God specializes in sudden shifts, and one touch of God's will can reroute your entire destiny. There have been nights you questioned your value, days you questioned your purpose, moments when you felt invisible to the world, but you were never invisible to God. God saw the silent battles you fought. God counted the nights you stayed awake trying to understand your journey. God heard the prayers you whispered too quietly for anyone else to detect. God observed your heart when you were too weary to express your thoughts out loud. None of it was ignored. None of it was wasted. None of it was forgotten. God stores every moment of your endurance. And now the season has come for those stored moments to turn into poured blessings. What once felt overlooked is about to feel overwhelmed with goodness, with opportunity, with grace, with divine elevation. God is about to surprise you with recognition from places you never sought, favor from people you never expected, and breakthroughs you did not even know were possible. Some of you have been walking through a wilderness season, and you assumed it was punishment. But the wilderness is not punishment, it is preparation. God takes people into isolation not to destroy them, but to detox them, to remove the noise, the distractions, the attachments that were blocking spiritual clarity. In the wilderness, God teaches you how to hear with your soul. In the wilderness, God teaches you how to walk without depending on human support. In the wilderness, God teaches you how to stand when everything familiar has been stripped away. Do not underestimate what God did in your loneliness. Because in that loneliness, God was building a strength that no crowd could ever give you. And now, when God surprises you with a blessing, you will carry the discipline, the awareness, and the inner peace that only the wilderness could have taught you. You have survived seasons that were designed to break you, but instead they built you. You have risen through storms that others did not know you were fighting. You have kept your faith when it would have been easier to abandon it. You have continued walking when giving up would have felt more convenient. And now God is about to reward the endurance that most people never saw. God is about to honor the private battles you overcame. God is about to elevate you in ways that make every hidden struggle worth it. The blessing coming your way is not merely a response to your prayers, it is a response to your perseverance. When God surprises you, it will not match the size of your request, it will match the size of your endurance. And understand this, when God surprises you, it often begins with a shift inside you before it manifests around you. God begins by resetting your belief system, expanding your vision, clarifying your priorities. God nudges you to let go of people who are not aligned with your future. God removes desires that are beneath your calling. God quiets voices that kept you distracted. God exposes habits that were draining your energy. And once the inner environment is aligned, the outer environment begins to shift. You feel a new kind of peace. You sense a new kind of clarity. You walk with a new kind of confidence. And then, almost without warning, the blessing arrives because the vessel, your heart, has been prepared to hold it. There are situations where God hides you on purpose, not because you lack value, but because premature exposure can destroy what God wants to build within you. You wondered why certain opportunities never opened. You wondered why certain people never noticed you. You wondered why certain seasons kept you in the shadows. It was because God was shielding you from environments that would have drained your potential. And now, when God surprises you by placing you in the spotlight of your purpose, you will not be shaken, you will not be intimidated, you will not be overwhelmed. You will walk into that moment with dignity, depth, and spiritual power that only God could have shaped. There is also a divine shift happening in your relationships. God is aligning the right people to support your next level. People with genuine hearts, wise minds, and pure intentions. People who will celebrate your growth instead of competing with it. People who will lift you rather than limit you. People who recognize your calling without feeling threatened by it. These people are part of the surprise God is preparing for you. They will enter your life unexpectedly, but they will play a crucial role in the chapter ahead. Their presence will feel like confirmation. Their support will feel like divine alignment. Their encouragement will feel like the voice of God echoing through human compassion. There is a blessing coming that will silence every doubt, calm every fear, and close every chapter that tried to break your spirit. God is about to surprise you with peace that does not waver, with clarity that does not fade, with strength that does not crumble. You will rise from situations that once weakened you. You will recover from losses that once defined you. You will step into opportunities that once intimidated you. You will shine in places where you once felt small. God is not adding small blessings to your life. God is rewriting the atmosphere around you. And hear this with all the power of your spirit. The blessing God is preparing for you will not require you to compete, compare, or compromise. It will arrive in a way that reflects divine authorship, a way so orchestrated, so precise, so undeniable that only God could have arranged it. You will not have to force it. You will not have to beg for it. You will not have to chase it. It will arrive by the decree of the one who controls all outcomes. When the moment finally arrives, it will come with a swiftness that leaves you breathless. God will move in a way that makes every delay appear intentional, every setback appear strategic, every disappointment appear necessary. You will look back on the nights you cried, the days you questioned, the seasons you endured, and you will see that none of it was wasted. Every tear watered the soil of your breakthrough. Every hardship carved out space for a greater blessing. Every closed door redirected you towards something more powerful than you could have planned. The surprises of God are never random. They are revelations of a divine wisdom that sees the entire picture while you can only see the pieces. And when God lifts you, nothing will be able to pull you down. When God opens the door, no force on earth can shut it. When God declares that it is your season, no circumstance can delay it. You will step into a chapter so filled with alignment, elevation, and clarity that you will realize this is not just a blessing, it is a turning point. A shift in your life so significant that it will echo for years to come. You will walk differently, think differently, and believe differently because you will have witnessed what happens when God decides it is time. So stand with courage, stand with expectation, stand with faith that refuses to bow to fear. God has been preparing something extraordinary, and you are on the threshold of witnessing it. The storm did not break you, the season did not defeat you, and the waiting did not diminish you. It strengthened you, it shaped you, it aligned you, and now God is about to surprise you with a blessing that carries the power to restore what was lost, rebuild what was broken, and release what has been held back. Live with anticipation. Walk with confidence. Hold your head high. The blessing on its way is greater than the pain behind you. The breakthrough coming is stronger than the battle you fought. And the future unfolding is brighter than the darkness you survived. God is not just going to answer your prayers, God is going to exceed them. God is not just going to open a door, God is going to open the right door. God is not just going to bless you, God is about to astonish you. Get ready. The chapter ahead will not look like the chapter behind. God is about to surprise you in ways that will leave you humbled, strengthened, and transformed forever.